do you think the outcome of the election could change based on a recount?
I've asked for the recount in order to determine what the right outcome is, and also to promote the integrity of the electoral process.
Why is the Government Accountability Board is an independent agency? Why do you feel they are not sufficient to carry out a review of the actions in Waukesha County?
We detailed that in the documents we've submitted with the Government Accountability Board this afternoon, and they include the contacts and communications that the Government Accountability Board staff have had with the clerk's office that we believe compromise their ability to take an independent and arm's length view of what took place there.
I mean, what type of communications and when?
Oh, from the time in that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame, and since the communications they've had of support and working with the clerk staff, who are their colleagues, would make it difficult for them to step back then and take the kind of more adversarial kind of investigation that needs to take place.
JoAnne, do you believe it's fair to require the people of the state of Wisconsin to pay for a recount if it does not change the outcome of the election?
The statutes provide that the state will pay when the election is as close as this.
How optimistic are you that a recount will change the vote totals in your favor?
I am very optimistic that the recount will help restore our confidence in the results of the election and will enable us to be confident going forward that when people vote, their votes will be counted and that they will not stay away.
You haven't said that.
I don't know what will happen about the outcome, but we're asking for a recount in part to determine what the proper outcome of the election will be and to ensure that elections from this time forward are fair.
How can we, the citizens, help you with the recount process?
Well, you can go to the Kloppenburg for Justice website and you can sign up to help volunteer and watch the recount process, and you can support with whatever resources you're able to provide, help us support the effort to ensure that the recount process goes forward in a way that is fair to all sides.
JoAnne, can you talk about some of the voting irregularities you think you've observed? I know you named some counties, but what was happening in those counties that leads you to believe something may be a little hinky with the numbers?
Well, right now, all we have are the numbers and the reports, and we've looked at spreadsheets that show historical anomalies that don't hold up statistically in terms of undervoting in cities in Milwaukee and Racine. We've heard stories, we heard them on the day of the election, of long lines in Fond du Lac and elsewhere where they ran out of ballots. Some had to use that other machine that's reserved for folks with disabilities. They had to use that more often than that machine's ever been used before. People had to wait for hours. They had to use Xerox ballots. Xerox ballots may not have been recorded properly in the machines. Those are some of the kinds of things that we have heard from people who were participating, or who were voting on election day.
Last time you had a press conference, you indicated you would. Do you still think you're the winner of the election?
How I feel? I feel that I have been a winner in any number of ways. Whether I will have earned the most votes in this election is something to be determined by the recount.
The Prosser campaign has indicated they will file a legal challenge to try and block the recount. How are you planning to respond to that?
Well, the Prosser campaign made threats. And I've been a litigator for 22 years, and in my experience, litigators that make threats in public without any basis or any citation to any law or facts don't get very far. And I have the statutes provide for a recount in a situation such as this, and their threats will not thwart our exercise of our right under the statutes. And we have made a decision, a very deliberate decision, consistent with the law and based on the facts that I'm confident will allow this recount to take place.
How much do you think it'll cost your campaign? How much do you think it'll cost your campaign?
No idea.
Any estimate?
This is the first time for me.
Are you asking for a hand recount?
At this point, we understand that the Government Accountability Board will be going to court tomorrow and present options to the court, and one of those options will be a hand recount, at least in some counties, if not all, and we will be supporting the Government Accountability Board in its request.
Why a statewide recount instead of just targeting the specific counties that you're most worried about?
Pardon?
Why a statewide recount instead of one just targeting the counties that you've heard the complaints from?
Because the complaints or the anomalies of which we are aware take place around the state, and the concerns that we have been hearing from people take place around the state, and only a statewide recount will assure people that this election is fair. That's right.
Mr. Kloppenburg, district attorneys hold partisan offices here in the state, as you know. In your filing for a special prosecutor, have you recommended where this prosecutor should come from? Who should this person be?
We're asking for a special investigator, not a special prosecutor.
Have you made a recommendation as to where this special investigator should be selected?
Is this somebody that should come from within the state, within the State Department of Justice, somebody from the federal government?
It should be someone who is a skilled and reputable investigator.
JoAnne, your campaign hired a pretty notable attorney to help advise you on some of this. Mark Elias, who's had some nationwide exposure in terms of his work on previous recounts. Can you advise how his counsel has helped you make this decision and when he may be on the ground physically representing you here in Wisconsin?
We have consulted with a number of attorneys, including him, and other people, both within and without the state, and I based my decision on the totality of their advice.
Will he be coming to Wisconsin for the court tomorrow?
No.
The prosecutor campaign has said that you personally may not want a recount, but you've been getting a lot of pressure from union groups or other supporters. There was a rally today to encourage you. Is this your personal feeling, or do you feel a lot of outside pressure?
I don't feel. I'm a litigator. I